Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Good evening. Hello guys, how you doing? Let me know if you can hear me okay, please. Helps if I switch on my camera before I go live, right? Cool. I think I'm gonna do something different tonight. We've got like I've got a folder here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lists submissions that came in this week. I don't think I'm going to score any of them, how we normally score them. But I think what I'd rather do is just look at all 7, right? So, see what people are thinking, see what like the common denominators are from list submissions in the last week. And then I guess if you want it to be scored in the new system, you could just shoot me a message and I'll score you as normal. I haven't played a game with the new chapter approved book, so I don't know how well I would score stuff anyway. This week we're probably going to have various videos breaking down chapter approved. We're definitely going to cover it live on Thursday night on the Grots channel. If you haven't subscribed to 3 Grots yet, I would love it if you consider doing that. Just search 3 Grots YouTube. This is us. This is all us. We are making a decent. So we're gonna do a live stream on chapter approved Thursday night for like probably 2.5 hours. Depends if Mark and Tony start before I'm available with kids' bedtimes. But yeah, at least 2.5 hours probably. Or at least 2, diving into a lot of chapter approved stuff. So that's happening Thursday. I'm going to be playing Chaos Knights with a new list that I guess I'm making on Wednesday. So I'm just going to move this camera because it's blocking my monitor. And yeah, I think what I want to do is I just want to look at all 7 lists tonight. Because I think that's going to be the most beneficial, right? We'll look at everybody's list, we'll see common denominators, what people are thinking is strong, and then obviously if there's any secondaries and stuff that people are thinking that we can score, we can talk about them as well. But I think I'll be doing videos on those in the next few weeks as well. So good evening, everybody. Good evening, Raziel, Mark, Mike, Daniel, the normal crew are here. Wolfden, The End. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Steel Rain, good afternoon. Nice to see you again. Yours was the first list that came through, Steel Rain. So we'll open your list first. Harry just got back from his first tournament with Blood Angels. Had great fun, and I'm excited for the new chapter approved. Did you play? I assume that if you played today, you would be playing on the old missions, or the old points. You must have had to submit your lists beforehand. How did you do, by the way, Harry? Okay, so let's start with Steel Rain. He threw together a list for Nephilim. He's not really sure. Sorry, it's not really a standard list. Also, not an indication of how much Sangre Guard should be in a list, trying to see what could be done with Fury of the Lost. So Fury of the Lost, and if you don't have the new chapter approved book, I guess you can ask any questions and I'll try my best to answer them. But for anyone that isn't aware, Fury of the Lost is the Death Company secondary, which you're now going to score points if the Death Company kill models, if they kill multiple models in a turn, and you're also going to score points when the enemy kill your Death Company. So the objective of the list is trying to take Fury of the Lost, Relentless Assault, and Blade of Sanguinius. The majority of the time. And yeah, now you are allowed to take multiple secondaries from your chapter approved pages. You're double or tripling up your points, double or tripling up on your points doing what you're already doing. I think you can pretty reasonably score 8 to 10 points even in a bad game. Fury is noticeably better in Nephilim, as you can score more and score in both players' turns, coupled with the point reduction on Death Company. Oh shit, you score in the battle round. I did not notice that. So Fury of the Lost, you can actually score 10 points per turn? Okay, that's pretty crazy. I thought it was turn. It's battle round. Okay, so that's cool. And this is why we're just going to dive into all the different lists and try and cover everything. Fury sounds like a trap. A better trap, but a trap nonetheless. I think Fury... I was thinking about Fury a little bit, Eric. I think you probably, if you're running, I think you're going to need to run 3 Death Company units for Fury. If you're running less than that, not 100%. Okay, coupled with points reduction of Death Company, it might be viable now, but, well, you could also run 2 Death Company units and a Death Company character. That might work as well. But if you're going to run it, I think you need to pretty go hard on Death Company. So I have 5 units. Okay. Alright, so yeah, so this is why I wanted to see what everybody was thinking. So he's going to go 5 Death Company. I was thinking you could maybe do it with 3. I've gone with 3 different Death Company setups to give me 4 on Fury options and deal with multiple threats. Death Company Captain as another Death Company, potentially double for Blade. Death Company Dread. Oh, geez. Okay, I guess Death Company Dreads as well as initial Death Company and helps you kill chaff and vehicles. Death Company Captain is take it or leave. But I want to see if it would work now. Another CP saving option is Lamarta's instead. If you're running that many Death Company, it may be worth double chaplains since their litanies don't overlap. But let me know what you think of that idea. You know, Lamarta's doesn't see that much play, but I guess there is a good point that some of his litanies can overlap essentially over the Death Company. Other than Death Company stuff, we've got 2 times 7 squad of Sanguinary Guard for cleanup, yeah, and Sanguinary Guard are obviously really good. Full bus for fire support, objective holding list is relatively straightforward as there are not any actions, etc. to deal with. You would say 5 minimum for Fury of the Lost. Mark says 3. Yeah, I mean, somewhere between 3 and 5, I guess, if you're going to go Fury of the Lost. Alright, so you take Dante because you want the extra CP, of course. He is the Warlord, but you aren't paying to make him the... you aren't paying to get his Warlord trait, which I think we're going to see a lot. You are paying for Soul Ward and an Astrath. You've got Massive Doom, Litany of Hate, Canticle of Hate, Mantra of Strength. So, Astrath's cool in that he gets 4 litanies, and I guess the 2 basic ones are really good, and the other 2 plus 2 charge make him a 4 damage weapon is cool. Death Company Captain with a jump pack, Mastercrafted Relic Blade, an Infernal Pistol, and Rites of War. I wonder if I would... If this was me, I would probably try and do a Thunderhammer just so that I don't have to waste a command point on the Mastercrafted Relic Blade. But, I mean, Mastercrafted Relic Blade is fairly decent, I guess. It's -3, which is, I guess, better than the Thunderhammer. Okay, Assault Intercessors with a Power Sword and 2 squads of Incursors, very standard. We're still going to see Incursors and Assault Intercessors, I think, is 3 kind of the main troop choices. I would say we're still going to see that quite often. And then you've got Death Company Marines, 5 Thunderhammers, Death Company Marines, 10 Chainswords, Death Company Marines, 5 Power Swords and Infernal Pistols. And when we talked last week or a few days ago, we thought Power Sword Death Company might actually be quite good now, just because that gives you good AP. What's the default AP in a Power Sword? It's -3, right? We have the Death Company Dreadnought with the Heavy Flamer. We've got the 2 Sanguinary Guard with an emphasis on swords now, because swords are better. And then we got 2 Eliminator Squads with Las Fusils and Instigator Bolt Rifles. I really wonder if I need a second Eliminator Squads. I think these guys are going to be really... I think we're going to see them popping up. I think they're going to be really good for the cost you pay for them. You think the Death Company Captain is only viable in lists like this. Harry went 2 and 3, all close games. My list needed an early game trading unit to jump on an objective without having to commit my heavy hitters. Yeah, that's a tricky part for Blood Angels, Harry. That's why... Were you running Incursors? Because Incursors can definitely do that. Okay, so the Death Company list then. So essentially, it's got 5 Death Companies. So you're probably gonna be able to max Fury of the Lost. Relentless Assault, you're probably gonna do okay on as well because you just have infinite Death Company units to throw into the enemy objective. And what was the third one? You're picking Blade. Personally, I don't really like Blade. I didn't like it before. I don't think I love it all that much now. But, I mean, there is other ones you could... You know, you don't have to go Blade of Sanguinius. There is other things you could pick. But, okay, so... Multiple squads of Death Company. We haven't really seen that. We definitely haven't seen 5, 5 and a 10 Death Company and a Death Company Dreadnought. That's just something that would have been unheard of before this balance patch. So the takeaways are... More Death Company is good, obviously, with their points drops. Eliminators with an Instigator Carbines is good, obviously, with the Las Fusils because of the points drops. I liked this squad before. I thought they were fine at 85 points. At 75 points, I feel like they're maybe a little bit of a steal considering how mobile and survivable they can be. They'll also be good for, once again, they're good for engaging all fronts. They obviously got made bad for engaging all fronts, right? Because if you lost a single model, you wouldn't score. But they're good for engaging all fronts again, right? Because the wording on engaging all fronts is saying a qualified unit is one that has a starting strength of 3 or more models. So your eliminators will once again be able to score you engaging all fronts. Doesn't matter if there's only one eliminator left. You're still scoring for 75 points. I mean, I was running a land speeder. I think I would swap out land speeder for the eliminators. The land speeder typically appears on the board, shoots something with a multi-melta and dies, whereas the eliminators are probably going to stick around for multiple turns, move out of cover, shoot, move back into cover, or move out of obscuring, shoot, move back into obscuring, and also essentially double move. All right, so first takeaways from Steel Rain's list, I guess, is Blood Angel secondaries are a lot better. There could be some play around Death Company Captain. There's definitely going to be some play around running multiple Death Companies now. And because it's going to score you up to, that's pretty crazy that it's 10 points per turn that secondary scores. You know, most secondaries, if you look at Oath of the Moment, you're basically capped in Oath of Moment at 3 points per turn. Fury of the Lost is 10 points per turn you can score, which is insane actually when you look at that. That might be a typo. I don't know if they meant to make it that strong. Okay. 10 points a turn makes me think maybe I should run 2 Death Companies. I don't have enough with swords. I'm going to be painting Death Company and Sanguinary Guard for the next few months, no doubt. Maybe even longer. And maybe more eliminators, I guess. Okay, cool. Alright, well, we might come back to some of the lists. We're just going to move on. Better order it by time so I don't miss anybody. Next up was Raziel. He was the second person to submit a list. Blade of Sanguinius is my chosen secondary by a country mile. Why? Mark. Why? What makes it your chosen secondary? Land speeders can no longer get the points for being in the center for Oath of Moment. I missed that. Why? Because you need to be core. Okay, makes sense. Centurions, I guess, can't get points for being in the middle either now. Okay, that kind of sucks. Where do you get 10 points per turn for Fury? Because it says at the end of the battle round, score 3 points for one enemy model is destroyed, score 4 if it was 2, and score 1 if your Death Company were destroyed. Oh no, you're right. Why? Why did I think it was turn? Have I got confused here? So it's 5 points per turn, or 5 points per battle round. Yeah, I mean, it would have been insane at 10. Okay, sorry, my bad. Yes. Someone said something in chat which confused me. Made me think turn was a battle round, and I got them backwards. Okay. I must have read someone's comment wrong. Okay. Alright, so Nephilim. I have a feeling that you're going to see a good amount of players looking to take more Blood Angel secondary, and I've specifically seen a lot of talk of building into Fury of the Lost. Okay, yeah, so people are thinking Fury of the Lost. I'm not really convinced that this is the way at all, and my list reflects that. Yeah, I'm not convinced Fury of the Lost is the way either, personally. I don't know if I want to run that much Death Company. I'd rather try Relentless Assault from what we have. Relentless Assault is a weird one for me. Like, I sometimes feel like Behind Enemy Lines is more consistent. Like, Relentless Assault either feels like you score it really hard or you don't score it, whereas sometimes Behind Enemy Lines just feels better. I really do think that we will still do well with the core secondaries and Ethan Oath. The goal I have is putting... The goal I have The goal I have put into building this is to retain as many starting CP as possible and still bring speed and power. I want some tricky debuffs. I really value that style of play. I would say many of my choices are experimental and nothing is set in stone. For instance, I couldn't fit Soul Warden in here, but I couldn't justify all the pre-game character upgrades I might want. Those days feel done and dusted. The Calidus is certainly a test. If I don't know what it does, then it's obvious why it's not here. For those, yeah, I mean, the Calidus is to try and make the enemy limit how much CP they can spend in turn 1. You always go for a Calidus Assassin. I think it's a novel, a cheap play, however you want to put it. Like, I guess because previously I didn't run Death Company, if the enemy had a Calidus Assassin, I just didn't care. I just didn't spend any command points in turn 1, and it was kind of a waste for them. But I guess a Calidus Assassin makes it 50-50 whether they're going to spend as much CP in turn 1. Okay. Calidus Assassin then. 100 points. We get 2 extra relics on this list. We start with Commander Dante's the Warlord, who's going to give us the 1 CP back. We have our Librarian with Mighty Heroes in Null Zone, an Icon of the Angel, and the Jump Pack. I really don't like Null Zone without Chief Librarian, but that's just my opinion. It's a hard cast anyway, and you make it even harder on yourself by not having Chief Librarian. And then we have the Sanguinary Priest, who has Rites of War and Visage of Death, which top players have been running Rites of War and Visage of Death. My one experience of it didn't go so well. I probably do want to run it a few more times, but when I tried to run it, I cocked it up really badly. Part of me thinks that maybe the Sanguinary Priest with Icon of the Angel and Rites of War is the build that I would take if I was going to run the Sanguinary Priest, which I think I probably will run him. I predict turn 3 will be big for the Calidus. Why? What am I missing? Nothing's changed with the Calidus Assassin, right? You can swap him out for another Assassin pre-game. Yeah, it costs 2 CP to do that, Highland Phoenix, though, right? Okay. Assault Intercessors and Double Incursors. We're going to see this in a lot of lists. For Death Company, we've gone for 2 squads of 4 hammers, because they're cheaper, so why would you not want more of them? Death Company with 4 hammers for 165 points is a very, very scary unit, and does a lot of damage. We get the same emphasis on swords in the Sanguinary Guard, and it's the same 7s. We've got Landspeeder with Multi-Melta. We've gone 2 squads of the Laz Fusel, Instigator Bolt, Carbine, Eliminator, so it's the second list that's gone for 2 of these, and then we've gone for 4 Eradicators with Melta Rifles. Okay, I mean, this is a... I was going to say, it doesn't feel too far away from what we had in the current you know, because if I look at my list, I was running 2 Sanguinary Guard, I was running 1 Death Company, I was running a Landspeeder, I was running Eradicators. So it almost feels like Eliminators have replaced like a Whirlwind here. A second squad of Death Company, in my case, replaced a squad of Terminators, and then a Chapter Master, a Librarian, and a Sanguinary Priest. Yeah, I mean, I still think this list is going to be strong. I guess really we just managed to squeeze in a couple more Sanguinary Guard or something like that. But yeah, another takeaway: Eliminators with Laz Fusel seem to be popular with everybody. The Landspeeder is probably still popular for something like Relentless Assault. Eradicators and Melta Rifles, it's hard to argue with them. They do generally kill things, and they can move and shoot in advance. Oh, I got a list from you, Stephen, as well. I think you sent it in Discord rather than in shit. Let me pull that one out of Discord real quick. Right, hold on. Alright, we'll just put this in here. We're just gonna bang straight into your list in a second, Stephen. Let me see if there's any other takeaways. So, Raziel, you didn't run 2 squads of Death Company before. You ran a single 10. So I guess you've moved to 2 5s because it's cheaper to form on Fury, CP are tight, and Death Company with Thunderhammers are so cheap now, it's definitely worth taking them. I don't know if you ran Eliminators and Eradicators before, but I feel like the Eliminator pickups with the last Fusils is a solid pickup. And yeah, I mean, the Priest with Rites of War and Visage of Death is a tournament-winning Priest. Trust me on the Librarian with Null Zone. Without the Chief Librarian, it's... Even with Chief Librarian, he fails any dice. What's the actual chances of casting on a 7 with... So it's a 58% chance to cast Null Zone. Against a 72% chance if you have the +1 to cast. The thing is, it makes it quite a bit more reliable. Because if I can't factor in the reroll off the top of my head, but like 42 times 0.58 plus 58. So a 6 with a reroll is 82%. And with the Chief Librarian with a reroll, it's 92%. Yeah, so it makes it go from 8 out of 10 to 9 out of 10. And then you also have to factor in the fact that the opponent's going to probably try and deny Null Zone, which is the big problem with the +1 to cast. If it stops your opponent denying it one time, it's probably worth it, right? That's my only thought. I think I ran a non-Chief Librarian to a tournament, and right after the tournament I was like, fuck my life. If I'd gone as Chief Librarian, I could have possibly gone 5-0. So the Calidus can do well in turn 3 because you can use their debuff in a subsequent turn for 2 CP. Yeah, I know that, but like, are you really going to want to, like, CP CP are going to be so valuable now? Are you going to spend 2 CP for a 50-50 chance on maybe making your opponent spend less CP? Like, a smart opponent if you pay 2 CP for your Calidus Assassin to stay off the board for another turn and make it a 50-50 chance that I have to pay more CP to do my stratagems, I just play defensively for that one turn and just don't cast any stratagems. And you just wasted 2 CP for nothing. So I think I don't know. I feel like a smart opponent just works around that, right? Okay, let's jump into the very next list, and we're just going quickly through lists tonight so we get like a handle on what people are taking and what the hot takes away. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, if you do want your list to be reviewed in more detail in a future week, once I've actually had some time to play the new rules, then just ping me and we'll get through it. If you are enjoying tonight's stream as well, though, please hit that like button so more people can find the stream. Okay, right, but Stephen is going with a Astaroth, Soul Warden, Warlord pick. Okay. We've got a Librarian with Unleash Rage and Wings of Sanguinius, so we've got Rites of War and a jump pack. Okay, interesting. You've got a Librarian there that's got the jump pack and Wings of Sanguinius, so he has a massive amount of movement. You then have the and Rites of War, so he can flip stuff very, very far away. We talked about this a few weeks ago as being an interesting choice. I've never actually run it myself, but it's an interesting choice. We got a Sanguinary Priest who has Icon of the Angel, and he is a Selfless Healer. So I wasn't sure we'd see that many Selfless Healers, but it seems like some people are still taking it. Okay. Again, troops are exactly the same. All 3 lists. 1 squad of Assault Intercessors, 2 squads of Incursors. I think if you can afford the 3rd squad of Incursors, great, but it just seems like this is a cost-effective way to do it. Death Company, we got 5 Thunderhammers for 180 points. We've got 7 Sanguinary Guard, we've got 7 Sanguinary Guard, emphasis on swords, and then 6 Sanguinary Guard, all emphasis on swords and axes, so this is all great. We've got a 6-man Terminator squad with Lightning Claws and Thunderhammers. And then we've got 2 Last Fusel Eliminators. So this is the 3rd list in a row with Last Fusel Eliminators. This list also is holding on to the Whirlwind as well. So The other two lists weren't holding on to the Whirlwind, and Sam did just win a tournament without the Whirlwind. So maybe the Whirlwind is down a little bit. Like it's definitely not doing any damage now. So it's really there to hold an objective and do suppression fire. If you're running a bunch of Last Fusel Eliminators, do you need a Whirlwind, I guess, is the question. And it really depends on, you know, if you're all jump units and you're all fast enough and you maybe don't feel like the enemy... I don't know. I've played with Suppression Fire for like a year and a half at this point. I think it's a great tool to have. I think it can always save units from death. But, I mean, Angel Sacrifice can do that as well. So, 2 units of Last Fusel Eliminators. That's the third list in a row that's got it. Alright, what did Stephen say? He's looking forward to getting going with a new season. I am too, actually, Stephen. I'm feeling kind of excited about it, because the first time in a season where like some things have gone our way, we've not been nerfed, it feels like. The thing I'm most excited about is how they revised our secondaries. The synergies with our true melee style and our lore makes me excited. Do you know what? I'm actually surprised no one's mentioned this yet in the first 3 lists, is the Space Marine secondary. What's it called? Shock Tactics? I thought, like, reading through this book, I thought Shock Tactics seemed super good. Like, I feel like Shock Tactics for Blood Angels is, like, at least 9 points, probably 12, probably 15. At the end of your turn, score 3 victory points if you control 1 or more objective markers that were controlled by your opponent at the start of that turn. And an Adept as a start is unit from your army is within range of that objective marker. So, they have an objective, you kill what's ever on it and you control it. Or you flip it with Rights of War. Or OBSEC, you know? Like, it feels like Stranglehold, but you only need to do 1 objective. You just need to pick 1 that they're on and be like, this turn I'm going to take that one. And when you've got, like, 4 fast flying units, you can literally do that every turn if you wanted. Just every turn, you'll just take 1 of them off them. I mean, I typically like to drop a Terminator squad down to be a nuisance. Your Terminator squad will do that as well, and you know, take them off their backfield objective, as well as taking them up their backfield objective and fucking up their primaries. You're just going to take 3 points for doing it. My Sanguinary Priest can do that second, John. Yeah, 100%. Any character with Rights of War can kind of do it. I guess even more so if you have Visage of Death, right? The other cool thing that you maybe didn't think about, and I was thinking about it, and I used it a little bit in the RTT that I was just at. If you have a character with Rights of War, your character can be hidden off the objective, and you can daisy chain a core unit onto the objective to have them with OBSEC, right? So, like, my character is behind a wall, and I have a squad of Vanguard veterans with storm shields daisy chained onto an objective. The Vanguard veterans have OBSEC because they're within 6 of the Rights of War character, right? So it's quite interesting. Okay, glad we can now play an aggressive Blood Angel style melee list and score big points with some of the secondaries. Yes, we can play a big aggressive melee Blood Angels list, but we do need some fire support, and I actually think this is going to come back full circle and hurt us. Whereas, like, into some armies now, we're going to be hurting a little bit if we don't have fire support. My list is designed to score well in primary and has units to play our secondaries well. The Librarian is an OBSEC bomb with long range movement. Yeah, you definitely have long range movement. A nice melee buff as well. Astaroth protects from mortals and would be a challenger and Blade of Sanguinius. I guess Astaroth can kill shit for sure with his 4 damage weapon. The Sanguinary Priest with Icon of Angel and Revive a Model and Charge Trick allows for some surprising charges. The list starts with 2 CP, which is enough for my Alpha Strike if I needed. 2 CP goes on making sure Canticle of Hate goes off 100%. This synergy with Icon of the Angel allows me to drop units from the sky and make the charge an 82% for each unit. Dropping multiple units means you have a 96% chance of at least one getting into combat. Just remember, you can't Death from Above or Strategic Reserve in turn 1. So, I mean, that can't happen until turn 2, right? Should score death from above rather easily if it's the right secondary to choose versus certain opponents. This list has 5 heavy hitting units that can drop from the sky and 2 more that move, shoot, move eliminators, and a whirlwind. Anyway, we'd love to get some thoughts. Yeah, my thoughts is that the eliminators are really good. I personally am kind of thinking I don't hate the melee terminators, but I'm thinking I might remove them from my list. I think something in my list, this is pretty much exactly what I have: 5 Death Company, 7 Sanguinary Guard. I have a 6 Sanguinary Guard, I have a 6 Sanguinary Guard, and I got 5 Terminators. I was running 5 Vanguard Veterans, but I think I'm replacing them with 6 Sanguinary Guard based on the points drops for the Sanguinary Guard. Yeah, I mean, 82% chance of charging is good, I guess, from Deep Strike, and I mean, it will work. I just don't know if I'm a huge fan of Death from Above, because you're having to start a bunch of stuff off the board, and typically, like, Wrath of Baal just gives you more advantage on that. At the end of the turn, score 3 victory points if enemy units were destroyed. Blood Angel's unit is set up within the reinforcement step of any of your movement phase. If any of these units were destroyed the same turn, get 1. If any of the units were a character, get another 1. So, yeah, I mean, it's fine to start the Terminators off the board in this case. I don't really like starting Sanguinary Guard or Death Company off the board. I think they're better on the board. Sanguinary Guard obviously have the heroic intervention, so you can do a lot of stuff around their movement. Yeah, I guess you could, upon Wings of Fire, 1 squad and then do something janky with the healer to make a really reliable low-range charge, I guess. It's fine, but you're in a weird position where you want the enemy to kill 1 model from a Sanguinary Guard squad or something, and then you're going to redeploy them, and I think they're just better on the board. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm finding it so hard to drop the Sanguinary Ancient myself, because the 14-inch move you get on those jump units is really, really strong. Something else to change to optimize my list? Yeah, it's probably going to be Terminators that are probably going to... I'm probably going to drop my Terminators, my Land Speeder, and my Eradicators. I'm probably going to replace them with... maybe Last Fusel Eliminators will be one of the things. I wish they'd fix the broken Death from Above wording, though. What was broken with it? The new secondary has something broken with it? Okay, so Astrath is the Warlord. The Librarian, I think the Librarian's interesting, actually, with the Rites of War and the 24-inch movement. So if he advances, 26-inch minimum. The Sanguinary Priest, I guess, with Icon of the Angel and Selfless Healer. I mean, you're starting on 2 CP, which seems a little bit rough. But I haven't played yet. I don't know how many. I mean, you're starting on 2 CP, and what, you're going to spend 1 straight away to Forlorn Fury, the Death Company? It's going to be mad to be starting on 1 CP in turn 1. That seems... it doesn't say when you have to have killed the unit. At the end of your turn, score 3 victory points if enemy units were destroyed by Blood Angel unit for army was set up in the battlefield and reinforcement step of any of your movement phases during the battle. My understanding would be that if you had a Terminator squad that arrived on the battlefield in turn 2 and they killed something in turn 2 and 3, you would just get 6 points for that. 3 for turn 2, 3 for turn 3, right? Relentless Assault was great before, was guaranteed 8 points for me. Yeah, I mean, typically Behind Enemy Lines was a good one as well. Like, it's guaranteed like 10 points. Yeah, so 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, I think we're going to see a lot more. The troop choice in the battalion is obvious. Most of this is fine. Personally, I like having a Chapter Master, but I know some people really swear by Astrath and his Massive Doom. I think Sanguinary Guard worked really well when you give them Chapter Master rerolls. Same with the Death Company. Giving them Chapter Master rerolls in turn 1 Forlorn Fury is really good. So And Dante is going to give you 1 CP back, but I guess Astaroth is more of a character hunter. So I think this is a valid enough list. Okay, I think the takeaways are, again, last Fusils are still here. Someone still thinks there's value in the Whirlwind and the Melee Terminators. I think this is the first list that we've seen 3 Sanguinary Guard in, but we're still seeing those 5 Thunderhammer Death Companies. So, okay, I'll just save that. Let's go into list. We're just going to keep bashing through lists, see how many we can get through. Next up is Terrance. So Terrance, so my list pre-update didn't change, but I went back to Dante to save CP. The Centurions and Blade Guard veterans will hold middle early and game and flex towards later if they are alive. With agile jump packs to save versatile, definitely took your tips to spread around damage. Centurions are going to suffer from the Oath of Moment change, I guess. I never even realised that they changed Oath of Moment yet to require core, so Centurion's definitely going to suffer from that. Alright, so what are we looking at? We're looking at a 5 CP starting battalion. We got Astaroth with Monster of Strength and the Canticle of Hate. We've got Commander Dante, and then we've... Surprisingly, Dante isn't the Warlord here. We have a Sanguinary Priest who is Rites of War, Visage of Death, and is the Warlord. I mean, in this case, I'd probably just have made Dante the Warlord to get the 1 CP, because you'd have to pay. You'd have to pay for Visage of Death anyway. You'd have to pay for Rites of War. I feel like Dante would be fine to be with this pack of guys, so I would probably make Dante the Warlord here. This time we've got 2 Incursors and 1 squad of Auto Bolt Rifle Intercessors. Fine. You can give the Sergeant a Chainsword for free, so I guess I would do that. Did Relentless Assault change? No, I don't think so. It's just 4 points if you have more in the opponent's deployment zone than he is in yours. Does it affect units you kill in your turn? In your enemy's turn, technically you can score each turn for a unit I killed in turn 1. Oh yeah, I guess it's worded really badly, Mark. So you're basically saying at the end of your turn, score 3 victory points if enemy was destroyed by a Blood Angels unit from your army that was set up on the battlefield. Yeah, so you're saying that if you kill the unit in turn 2, technically you've met that first requirement again in turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. Yeah, no, it's worded badly. I would assume that you have to do it every turn. Unleash Rage is the only thing that can give us more than 100% hits, so I had to get it in there. Yeah, that's why I really like Unleash Rage. Is $80 worth getting some Forge World Solar Alaxarium? I don't have a clue what these guys look like, not telling. I'll Google it, hold on. For Voidsman at Arms. Evening Dark Ginger. Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I have seen these guys before. Why don't you just use Tempest Scions? That's what I'm doing. I already bought 2 boxes of Tempest Scions. I don't know how much cheaper they are. You're saying $80. I mean, this must be... No, that's America. Warhammer... If I change this to America... Oh. Scions are probably going to be cheaper. Just see on the Scions, just cut off the just cut this off, because that's like what makes them a hotshot las cannon, right? That's what I've done. I mean, these guys probably fit the build more, but I think the Scions will look cool when they're painted, right? You can kind of paint them as like humans wearing Blood Angel's armor. Is Oath of Moment change a heavy enough nerf to make it bad, or just not will take anymore? I mean, when you think about Oath of Moment, most of the points were scored from the not failing leadership and killing 1 character, vehicle, or monster every turn. So typically that part of it was good for 8 or 10 points every game. So maybe now, rather than capping it, most of the time you'll still score like 13 on Oath. So I think Oath can probably, for some armies, I think it'll still be an auto take. It really depends on what you're up against, I guess, maybe a little bit more now. Alright, so Terrance's list. So we talked about Dante and that. For elites, we've got a squad of Bladeguard veterans, which had kind of completely fallen out of the meta. A lot of people had ditched Bladeguard veterans since Armor of Contempt had come out. We haven't seen them too much. We have a large squad of Centurions, and it's 5-man. And I guess if you're going to run that, run a priest so you can res them for sure. I think they're slow, and I think there's a definite way you need to play them. We got the Death Company with the Thunder Hammers. I'd really have liked to see the 4th hammer. I think it's valuable in there. We've got the Sanguinary Guardian at 7. Heavy swords, a couple of Infernal Pistols, and then the Whirlwind. Okay, this list, we did look at Terrance lists a few weeks ago. And Infernal Pistols are... He spread out some of his damage because he didn't have that much 3 damage weapons around. We got 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard. We've got the Thunderhammers split up. The Whirlwind for the defensive. Interesting to still see Blade Guard. I guess if you're going center board with Blade Guard and Centurions, then you're probably going to be able to hold the center board with a Priest. It's probably a pretty good squad. I just think it's quite slow. And... yeah, I've never run 5 Centurions by myself at the moment. They are 335 points, which is batshit crazy. I'm always scared to lose like a squad of Sanguinary Guard when they're like 210 points, or I guess they've just gone down in points. They were like 230 points, 229 points or something, and it's like, you know, when you're trying to trade a unit and you're thinking, fuck, I'm going to lose a 229 point squad here. That's a lot. So 335 points is crazy mad. Kreuzer said he just started the Blood Angels hobby and he got a tactical marine with a huge radio in the back and he can't identify it. What would it be? It might be a backpack for a heavy weapon or something like that. You could maybe share a picture of it in our Discord. You can get in our Discord from... there's a link in the video description. Yeah, why is Dante not the Warlord? That's what I said, Raziel. You could easily switch that around. And Bladeguard will make a comeback because of Core and Oath. Will they though? Because they don't have They don't have Armor of Contempt. So like, if you compare a Bladeguard veteran to like a Lightning Claw Terminator, I think the Bladeguard veteran's just inferior against... yeah, I mean, I have 5 Bladeguard. I painted them up. I don't know. I guess maybe we'll see Bladeguard back. I have a feeling that we won't. They're clipped by the mobility of the Sanguinary Guard, and if you want something to be really survivable, then I think it's Terminators. And Oath is only 1 point for holding the middle now, says Nate. Yes, correct. I think it's most likely it's going to be some sort of backpack for a heavy weapon. Good evening, Joanne. The Centurions need to run forward. Yeah, I mean, they will just be running forward. I mean, the Melta-Guns and their Flamers at least are assault, but... yeah. Okay, so I mean this is more of a unchanged list, I think. Maybe. It's not playing around like it's not a bad list now, but I guess it's kind of doing its own thing, right? So maybe that's one to come back. I'm trying to see tonight what trends we're seeing. Alright, Mike. Finally submitting a list. If there's a question that you really want to answer in chat, because chat's going quickly and I'm going through a lot of lists, please just type question and block capitals or something at the beginning and I'll make sure to answer it. Okay, this is a draft I'm rolling around. Some of the choices are based on current models. Things like Power Fist is one in one of the Sanguinary Guard and Stormbolters on the Whirlwind. You definitely don't want a Stormbolter on the Whirlwind. If you've got one on that, just snip it off. It's a waste of points. The Snipers and Eliminators, I was hoping to swap these bits out before tournament in August. I think spending 4 CP if I don't take the Warlord trait on Dante, but included in this list before because I forgot to take it out before I copied. Ultimately, I'd like to trim points to take a third Hammer in Death Company squad. Again, I need to paint one up. Story of my life, we're always painting stuff to finish stuff. Good evening, Mike, anyway. Force DP, 1995 points. Surely we can spend these last 5 points somewhere. Let's see. We've got Angel's Ascendant. We've got Mephiston. Okay, cool. Someone else run Mephiston. Quickening, Shield, Wings. I think this is the wrong build on Mephiston. His most valuable spell, in my opinion, is Unleash Rage, 100%. And Quickening, think about it this way. Quickening gives him D3 additional attacks. That's fine. So on average, you get 2 attacks. If you cast Unleash Rage on any other Blood Angels jump pack unit, you get 16% more attacks. Even more so if you have like rerolls. So for example, if you were going to do let's talk about Death Company with Thunder Hammers. If you're going to take that Thunder Hammer unit, you get 20 attacks, right? So you know that 0.01666 of them is going to be 6s, right? So if you cast Unleash Rage on a Death Company unit that's got 4 Thunder Hammers, you're getting 3.32 extra hits. And then if you have some rerolls on there, so let's say you're rerolling because Death Company Hammers only hit on 4s, so you're rerolling 10 dice, well, you're going to get half that again, right? So now you're getting 3.32 plus 1 point. So Unleash Rage is giving you 5 extra Thunder Hammer hits, whereas the best you can get from Quickening is 3 extra attacks. And obviously you could have a 10-man Death Company, so you could be getting 10 extra hits. You could have a 7-man Sanguinary Guard, you could be getting about 7 or 8 extra Sanguinary Guard hits. I think Quickening is a low-value spell. I've tried to use Quickening. I've also run him with Blood Boil as well, because it's targeted smite. So I think Quickening is the lowest value spell. Unleash Rage is good, Wings is good, Shield and Blood Boil are good. Don't take Quickening. Quickening is like previous editions when he was a complete smash character. He isn't that anymore. He's decent, but he's better as a buffing character. We've got Dante, who has taken Heroic Bearing and is the Warlord. Okay, we've got Intercessors, Infiltrators with a Helix Gauntlet to make them more survivable, and Intercessors with auto bolt rifles. We've got 2 Thunder Hammers and an Infernal Pistol in this Death Company, and my thoughts now with the points drop is you just want 4 Thunder Hammers in the Death Company. Quickening average is 1.4 extra attacks due to the spell failing as well. Stephen, thank you very much for pointing that out. I guess Unleash Rage could fail as well. The thing is, I'm much more likely, I feel, like spending a CP on re-rolling an Unleash Rage because it can have so much value, as opposed to re-rolling a Quickening for like 1 or 2 extra attacks, right? Because if you have a 7-man squad of Sanguinary Guard and you're re-rolling, like, because you're near a chapter master or something, and your 6s are exploding, you can potentially get, like, I think I had a 7-man squad of Sanguinary Guard that procced 13 extra hits against a knight or something. It was huge. If I hadn't had those 13 extra hits, the knight wouldn't have died. We then have a Leviathan Dreadnought with the Volkites and the Gravflux and the Claw. The Claw's fine, but you really want the Drill. The Drill's just more AP, more damage, more flat damage against vehicles. You really want the Drill, trust me. The Claw's fine, but the Drill is better. Thank you so much to James, who sent me a Drill. I appreciate that, James. We also have the Sanguinary Ancient, who has Rites of War and Wrath, which I think is the go-to build in the Sanguinary Ancient. I'm really struggling with my build. Like, do I drop this guy because I think he's so valuable? So that's why he's only at 2 HQ up here, because his third is essentially the Ancient. We then have 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard, and one has an Infernal Pistol in it. This is an 8-man squad, which I guess is maybe interesting. And then we've got a 7-man squad with a couple of Power Fists, a couple of Infernal Pistols in there. Okay, 7 and an 8, I guess that's fine. A lot of people are focused on 7s. Hold on, my daughter's just woke up. I'll be right back. Okay, putting an Infernal Pistol on the Power Fist Sangre Guard just saves the expensive models to last. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good point. If you don't have these, if you've got these guys magnetized, then the Power Fist guy should be the Infernal Pistol guy, so you keep the most expensive models alive till the end. Land Speeder in at 70 points. Another person running the Quake Bolts. Do you know what? The other list didn't have Quake Bolts on the Eliminators. Interesting, but these are not Last Fusel Eliminators. These are Sniper Rifle Eliminators. We've talked about the Sniper Rifle Eliminators at length, and we feel that if you really want to make them good, you probably want 2 squads of them. So I think Last Fusel Eliminators can work with 1 squad. Not so sure Bolt Rifle Eliminators work with 1 squad. Is it okay to run Dawnbreakers with Swords as Sangre Guard if you've got them converted? Yeah, absolutely. It would be amazing to do a full HQ tier list and other Blood Angels tier list live with all of us there to throw in our votes. I mean, it would be, but the video would take a million years to film. I love Leviathans. Do you think it's worth running it without core and with Martial Legacy? I mean, the core on Leviathan isn't really a problem, right? Leviathan, when you compare the difference in points between a Leviathan and a Redemptor, so Leviathan's like main cannon, the Grav Flux, arguably is more reliable than the Plasma Cannon. There's 25 points more. Its drill is better than the Redemptor's Claw. It's got 1 more wound. It's got 1 better save. It's got an invulnerable save. Yes, it costs a CP, but I think I just prefer Leviathans overall to Redemptors, which, you know, I went to a tournament where I ran multiple Redemptors. I think I won 3 Redemptors and just 1 Leviathan. But yeah, I don't have a problem running a Leviathan. I think it's generally a scary thing that the opponent have to deal with, especially if you've got the drill on it. I'm trying to rack my brain for the profile of the drill off the top of my head, but I can't. I'm just going to pull it up because it's been a little while since I ran the Leviathan. Leviathan. I'll be here somewhere. The drill is timed 2 strength, -4, 2d3 damage, so I guess an average of 4 damage, but if it's against vehicles, it's flat 6 damage. And it's -4, which is nice, so like once you get to Assault Doctrine, it's -5. Generally, things without an invulnerable save just absolutely melt to -5. Even Armor of Contempt stuff on -5 is going to have a big problem, right? A Leviathan marching across the board with the drill, it combos really nicely with Quake Bolts. This list has Quake Bolts, so sorry, let me think about this list for a second. We've got Dante, we've got the Heroic Bearing. I'm not sure you need Heroic Bearing here. I'd probably lose the Heroic Bearing part of this. He also said you wanted to get an extra couple of Thunder Hammers in here. I think that would be the right call. I think I would probably drop the couple of Power Fists and probably 1 of the Infernal Pistols. And get another Thunder Hammer in here. I'd probably rather you got the 4th Thunder Hammer in here. I guess the only way you could probably get the 4th Thunder Hammer here is if you dropped the Eradicators and you did 2 Eliminator squads and you swap these out for the Last Fusels. That would seem like the best bet. Or maybe you go with 7-man Sangre Guards. You don't necessarily need to have 8-man Sangre Guards, in my opinion. And you do have an 8 here. So yeah, you could probably do 2 7s, get the extra Thunder Hammers in here. I think it would be worth it. I'm not sure there's any big trend here. I guess the biggest trend is like every list is including Dante, but it's nice to see someone else felt Mephiston was still valuable. I think Mephiston has maybe gone up a little bit in value now that there's less CP to play with, because Mephiston's a character that doesn't really need CP spent on him. You think about like Chapter Master on a bike or Chaplain on a bike. They both need multiple CP spent on them. Probably 3. Well, 3 was what people were running before, right? Like 2 Warlord traits and the Relic. So they're kind of maybe even off limits now. Sangre Ancient, Sangre Priest previously been run with like a Warlord trait and a Relic. Maybe not off limit, but you're maybe only running 1 of them. Mephiston doesn't need CP spent on him. What other character doesn't really need spent CP on him? Astroth. So I guess question mark on. I guess what do you prefer? Astroth has that 4 damage weapon. He has some reliability problems because you can't cast litanies on 2s, but I guess you can do them with CP. But we've already talked about how CP is going to be so much difficult. Then Mephiston has less reliability in his sword, which is mad considering his sword strength 10. But let's not get into that. But he obviously survives a lot better than Astroth, right? Because he has toughness 5. He can be transhumaned. He has a 2+ save, which becomes, a 1+ save with Armor of Contempt, essentially. And then he has more wounds. And he has that 5 at Feel No Pain as well. Battlescribe gives me an error if I don't when he's my Warlord. Battlescribe gives you an error on what? Sorry. Yeah, Battlescribe's not updated yet. You don't need to take Heroic Bearing on Dante anymore. And I argue one of the reasons I probably didn't like Dante was I felt Heroic Bearing wasn't that valuable. I felt it was a pretty poor Warlord trait. I mean, if you think about the Sanguiner, he has Heroic Bearing as well, and he doesn't even have an aura. So I guess arguably, does anyone like the Sanguiner now? He didn't get any play before, really. But again, he's a character that maybe works without any CP spent on him. So, how do you rate Sanguinary Guard with Power Fists? I mean, they're fine, but I think swords are the best choice. You don't want... Sanguinary Guard work better if they're cheaper. I have a bunch made with Power Fists and I never run them. Maybe if they ever make Power Fists the same costs as the swords, then you basically pay 5 points, and all you do is you change your hit to your wound roll to be better. Yeah, I don't love the Power Fists. Unleash Rage, Wings, Rites of War, Jump Librarian is 115 points, 1 CP. Yeah, I mean, good point, I guess. I guess what's more valuable now, points or Mephiston? I'm the one who runs a Chaplain Deep Strike with Sanguinary Guard pop down, 2 CP for 7-inch charge and CP for Icon of the Angel. I mean, you can do that. Yeah, it's an 82% chance that you can get your Sanguinary Guard down. I guess now it links up with that Death from Above secondary. I mean, I prefer my Sanguinary Guard to be on the board, but because there is always like an inherent degree of unreliability in Deep Strike, right? And sometimes, like, here's an interesting question for you. I played a game at the tournament that I was just in, and I think I had an opportunity to win the game if I made a Deep Strike charge. And because Blood Angels get +1 to their charge, and had a CP for a reroll, that's a 65% chance to make the charge, right? But here's the question: do you want to risk winning the game on a 65% chance? It's 2 for 1. 2 out of 3 times you pass that charge. Would you rather win the game on a 2 or 3 chance, or would you rather win it through like skill and like not the unreliability of Deep Strike? And for me, it feels pretty risky. Like top players at the very top tables, not that many people do Deep Strike, right? And I guess there's a reason behind that. Anyway, that's Mike's list. Let's see how many more lists we can get through today. I think we've got like 3 more we could look at. Let's have a look at Jake. So Jake's sent his current list with a few tiny adjustments for the points changes. He starts with 0 CP now. Oh god, I hate that. Now if I keep Dante Warlord, so he will definitely need changing, but I'd appreciate some help finding what direction to go in. My meta means axes are definitely worse than swords against every opponent. Yes. My opinion at the moment on Sanguinary Guard is go 75% swords, 25% axes. Okay, so we have 3 extra relics of the chapter. We've got Dante with Heroic Bearing. Well, to begin with, we just lose Heroic Bearing, get yourself 1 CP back. I don't think you need that. He's the Warlord. We have the Selfless Healer with the Teeth of Terra. I mean, Teeth of Terra, fine. It makes the Selfless Healer a little bit combat-y. In my opinion, it could be something we could lose. We could probably save 1 CP here if we really need to. We've got 3 Squads of Incursors. That's fine. We got the Death Company with the Thunderhammers. We get 2 Relic Contemptors with twin las cannons and cyclone missile launchers, 215 points each. These things are pretty expensive for what they actually bring. I think while las cannons are d6 damage, and I guess cyclone missile launchers are d6 damage as well, I actually kind of dislike this. I mean, you're only 5 points more for Leviathan, which has like 5 more wounds, better armor save, arguably a more reliable gun. I mean, like, the Grav Flux is going to get 4 shots, so you're 1 less strength on your gun. I think you're the same AP. And what? And your Grav Cannon is going to do like flat 3, whereas the Twin Las Cannon is going to do d6. And then the Leviathan's a monster in melee combat if you've got a drill or something, right? So, yeah, I mean, last edition people ran Relic Contemptors. Earlier this edition people ran them with Volcons. I'm not a fan of this loadout. I actually have this loadout painted, but I wouldn't run it. We talked a little bit a while ago. I think the best loadout for a Relic Contemptor is 1 Volcon, 1 Cyclone, and the Chain Fist. Yeah, not the combat weapon, the Chain Fist. I think that's your best option. That comes in at like 180 points. It is less long-range shooting power, but I guess it depends on what you're up against. If you really need twin las cannons in your meta to blow something up, great. But yeah, I don't think this is not going to be common. We're not going to see this very much. I can't imagine this going very deep at tournaments either. Just d6 damage is really unreliable. And yes, sometimes it can be great, but sometimes it can be absolutely shit. With CP being so limited, you're not going to want to be CPing damage rolls. You're going to be... So anything that has like flat damage and more reliability on the number of shots is just going to be better. Knights, Sisters, World Eaters are my main opponents. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're into Knights, I can understand it, but I also don't think it's that strong. Or I guess Sisters, you need to open up the Rhinos. Yeah, I guess if Sisters are running a boatload of Rhinos. That's why I think we're going to need to have... Sisters are going to be coming out of this meta in a really good shape. You know, I hate to say it, but everybody else is running it. For the cost of one of these things, you could get 3 squads of Eliminators with arguably 9 Las Fusils. So 9 Las Fusils, 225 points. It's going to cost you no CP. It's going to be 9 shots. They're going to hit on 2s rather than hitting on 3s, what this thing does. It's going to be strength 8 minus 3, so 1 less strength, but the same AP, and it's flat 3 damage. So, yeah, Las Fusil Eliminators. I'd maybe go... You don't have any... Oh, you got 1 other heavy support. Alright, you could go 2 squads of Las Fusil Eliminators. If you really love these Dreadnoughts, you could keep 1, and then you could use your extra 75 points that you would have there for... I don't know, something else. You'd have an extra elite slot, so you could... How many Sanguinary Guard is this? This is an 8, and this is an 8. Okay, so I would break these down into like a... You could probably go 7, 6, 6. 3 squads of... I feel like everybody's going to be buying Eliminators, and like, fuck, I need to buy another squad of Eliminators, I think. Sisters are probably a top 3 army now, yes. But I don't think Relic Contemptors are pretty good. If they make the Las Cannons D6 plus 2 like the Chaos ones are getting, then I'm on board with this, right? Like if Las Cannons stay at the same points and they become D6 plus 2, so they change from an average of 3.5 damage to 5.5 damage, then I'm cool with this. But until they update Las Cannons, I don't like this. Alright, and I guess that's why everyone's running Las Fusel Eliminators, and that's what we would do. I would definitely you got no CP for starting. So we changed Dante's Warlord out, so you got 1 CP. You change out one of these Contemptors, so you got 2 CP. Infernal Rites of War and Wrath of Baal is kind of needed. The Teeth of Terra you could think about dropping if you wanted to start with 3 CP. For me, the Priest is only getting combat late in the game, where kind of the game's pretty much already won, it feels like. So the Teeth of Terra, like the Priest's 155 points. He doesn't live in combat, so you're never throwing him into combat until you feel confident. So the Teeth of Terra for me is a take it or leave it pick. Okay, let's keep moving on. We might get through all the lists that we've submitted today, and we'll see what we feel like. Okay, this was our list from Richard. I seem to have lost a little bit of this list. God damn it! Just give me 1 second to pull it from YouTube again. Comments. I'll just search what he said. Huh. Oh, right. For some reason, it lost a bit at the top of the list. Okay. I already have 3 Laz Eliminators, so I'll maybe grab an extra box. Yeah, I have 2. I mean, if you like this, if you like the Sergeant with the ability to give them the move, shoot, move, that's pretty good as well. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to open rhinos, maybe just more Laz Eliminators is going to be. Are Laz Eliminators better than the bolt rifle ones? Yeah, 100%. I think the bolt rifle ones are take it or leave it. The other ones are generally quite good. Space Marines don't have that many flat 3 damage weapons, and the fact that they're on Ballistic Skill 2 and in cover, they're just super survivable, right? Okay. Split the Sanguinary Guard into 3 as well. Yes, cool. Alright. I know I'm going fast tonight, guys. Just try and keep up. I'm sorry. Lots to take in. Alright, Richard's list. He's starting on 6 CP, is he? This is mad. I built this list around 3 secondaries, a list below. Relentless Assault, Nat Mandate, and Oath. Then Cursor Squads deploying the center. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to go through this list first, and then we'll read what he's saying. So he's got... I guess he's just... Yeah. So he's got Astaroth, who's taking Litany of Faith, which is the one that protects against mortals. Massive Doom. Just standard as in. Hey Jacob, thank you so much for becoming a member. I really do appreciate it. I might get to my goal of 10 members this month, but yeah, regardless, thank you so much for that. Please make sure you link up your account and get into our Discord. We've got Mephiston with Quickening, Shield, and Wings. My same thing goes. Unleash Rage is the best spell for Mephiston, so get rid of Quickening. Dante, you can kind of lose Heroic Bearing here. I don't think you need it. He is the Warlord, yes. We have Assault Intercessors with a Power Sword. We have Heavy Intercessors with the Hellstorm Bolt Rifle. Hellstorm Heavy Bolter. We don't see Heavy Intercessors much. We really don't. We have Incursors. It's a giant squad of Incursors. 9 Incursors? A strange point value. It's a very strange point value. Incursors are 105. So they're 21 points per model. 189 divided by 21. Okay, yeah, I guess 9 Incursors. I guess I couldn't do the math in my head. Okay, and then we've got Infiltrators. And it's a 5-man squad. First of all, I mean, I don't think you should be running 4 troop choices. Unless there's a very clear and conscious decision to do it. I think 3 troop choices are fine. We then have Blade Guard veteran squads with the Sergeant updated to the Volkite pistol. We have a Death Company squad with 5, I guess, ACS chainswords and 4 thunderhammers. We have a Sanguinary Guard with 3 axes, 3 swords. We've got a Scout Squad, Sergeant with a chainsword. I assume that the rest are like with bolters. We've got the Whirlwind with a Hunter Killer Missile. Okay, and then we've got a Landspeeder Storm, I guess, for the scouts to go in. Okay. I generally dislike 4 troop choices. I can't think of a reason to ever take 4 troop choices. Troops don't kill models, really. They sit on objectives and score points. Thank you so much for subscribing, Cozy. I appreciate it. The only reason to take 4 troop choices is for OBSEC, and I feel like as Blood Angels, you could just take Rites of War. I guess any Space Marines. You could just take Rites of War on a character and then get OBSEC anywhere on the board for your core units, which I think is better. I also don't like a 9-man squad of Incursors. It just seems like a waste of points. So I'd probably lose. And you have a Whirlwind as well here. A Whirlwind in the backfield to hold an objective makes your heavy intercessors kind of redundant. Or at least one of your... I mean, you could keep the heavy intercessors if you're going middle with them, but you just need 3 troop choices. You really do just need 3. I do all his units have names, what a boss. Yeah, it actually made it pretty difficult to go through and read it. Alright, let's think of this for a second. Excuse me. Good evening, DTM. I built this list around secondaries listed below: Relentless Assault, Naknon Data, and Oath. Incursors squad deploy in the center for Oath of Moment starting round 1. The 2 Infiltrator squads. Is 2 Infiltrator squads? Oh shit, it's 2 Infiltrator squads. Okay. Now, you definitely have too many troops now. You'll have basically no killing power, but you'll have a ton of troops. 2 Infiltrator squads deny enemy deep strike, which, like I said, isn't that... We usually... Like, I find in my games, I deep strike more than most enemies, and I usually just have 1 or 2 units in deep strike. So you're going to zone out your deployment. I mean, I guess that's fine. Landspeeder Storm with the Scout Squad advances into enemy deployment zone round 1, or use the outflank ability round 2, scoring Relentless Assault. Sure, you'll get some points from that. Whirlwind deploys a backfield objective and delivers suppression fire where needed. Blade Guard veterans, heavy intercessors, and Mephisto made their way to the center to support the Incursors. I don't hate the fact that you're putting heavy intercessors in the middle. That's fine. I guess I hate the fact you've got like 6 troop choices and a giant squad of Incursors. Just make it a 5-man. If you want them to survive, just smoke screen them or something. Assault Intercessor squad deploys on a second backfield objective if there is one, or joins a support group moving the center. Athras supports the Death Company, either in a pre-game move or deep strike round 2. Commander Dante supports the Sanguinary Guard. Considerations: replace the Blade Guard veterans or heavy intercessor with another squad of Sanguinary Guard. Yes, you want multiple squads of Sanguinary Guard in the current meta, 100%. You want 2 squads of 7 minimum. You can maybe get away with a 7 or a 6. Or maybe you can get away with 2 6s, but that's the absolute minimum, I think. Sanguinary Guard are our best unit. They do the most damage. They're the most mobile. They have the most tricks. They get the most buffs. You want more of them. Simple as that. Do you know what? It's time for the meme. It's been a little while, but the meme needs to come back. Hold on a second. Bear with me, it'll be worth it. I got a fever. Okay. What was it? It was... I mean... This list isn't playing on trend. Like, I'm trying to find trends in the new codex. This list isn't playing on trends. Dante, Mephisto, and Astrath, all 3 of them is kind of bold, I guess. Yeah, we haven't... That's the one thing I like about this list. He's gone pretty bold on the 3 named characters. They're arguably the 3 strongest ones that we could possibly run. He's been very bold on that. one, two, three, four, five squads of troops, including a 9-man squad of incursors. It's way too many troops. Yes, you can hold objectives. Yes, you can obsec stuff, but you're not going to kill anything, so you're going to lose the game because you're not going to kill anything. It's got a big death company, which is fine, but I think more people are going to start favouring that 5-man death company because they're cheap and they're only going to be 1 CP to form on Fury. And then the Scouts in the Storm, I mean, it's a neat play to score points for Relentless Assault, but I guess if that's all you're really assaulting into your opponent's deployment zone with like a Storm and a squad of Scouts, they're just going to get mopped up pretty quickly. So, I mean, I guess you could try and guerrilla tactics a unit in there or something, but you don't really have much else to back them up. You get too many points in troops, and you maybe have too many points in characters. Like you're right on the cusp. 445 points of characters is right at the top there. So, all right, that's Richard's list. We're gonna look at Jacob next, and Jacob just became a member 5 minutes ago. Jacob, thank you again for that. Okay. Zovi played an RTT yesterday, needed more Sanguinary Guard. It didn't help I ran into Warhammer Titan and 2 Knight armies. How many Sanguinary Guard did you run? Because at the moment I'm running, or my tournament I just had, I was running 13, but I think I'm going up to 19. I think I'm dropping Vanguard Veterans. I might have problems against Death Guard. I think I probably will actually have problems against Death Guard, and I think Death Guard have got a lot better. So I think I'm probably going to run some more Sanguinary Guard, and I'm going to rethink my heavy support choices to try and be just a little bit better into Death Guard. We should really expect a Sanguinary Guard point re-increase in 6 months if they become that common and successful list. Maybe they get nerfed earlier. I don't think the Sanguinary Guard need to go up in more points. I think other things in our codex need to be made better, Mark. I think that's the problem with Sanguinary Guard. They put the Storm Shields on Vanguard Veterans up to like 5 points per model, which was like a crazy amount. Yeah, I mean, Sanguinary Guard just have all the tricks, really. And I guess that's maybe why they tried to make that secondary. Like, really focus on the Death Company to get people... They've tried twice now to lower the cost of the Death Company and make that secondary all about scoring points with the Death Company. And I mean, we saw one list that had 2 squads of 5-man Death Company all with Thunderhammers. And we saw the other list that had gone like hardcore by Steel Rain into the Death Company. So maybe... I always felt like Death Company's default shrug should be a 5-up. Like, not a 6. Like if Death Company had a 5-up shrug, I think we would see shitloads of Death Company. And I was saying, for 6 months, like when we were getting our asses kicked all the time, Sanguinary Guard were 32 points per model. We didn't have Armor of Contempt, and Blood Angels were like the lowest win rate, bar like Imperial Fists, right? We had like a 30% tournament win rate or something, 33%. And I was saying like Blood Angels didn't need much to be competitive. We need the Sanguinary Guard back at 30 points. And I said before Armor of Contempt came out, right? They need to have a 1-up save, and then we'd probably be in a good spot. So maybe the way that the Death Company need to be good is their Feel No Pain needs to be like a 5, and they can pay to make it a 4, right? Rather than where it is at the moment, where it's a 6, and you can pay to make it a 5. Like, I think if Death Company's Feel No Pain was a 5 and you could pay to make it a 4, we would see so many fucking Death Company. And sometimes that's the problem, right? Like, you can't fix the rules with points. So maybe we'll see Sanguinary Guard go back up in points. I think it's the wrong decision. I think they need to fix other things because Sanguinary Guard have all the tricks. Or Death Company could be -1 damage, sure. That would be another option. Or maybe the other thing, like Woven got, Death Company could fight on death. Maybe that could be an option as well. But yeah, you used to like it when the ideal balance was 1 squad of Sanguinary Guard, 1 squad of Death Company, and 1 squad of Vanguard Veterans. Yeah, I like that as well, but it's not been that for a long time, has it? Because for a while there, it was like Sangre Guard and Van Vets, and then the Van Vets went down, and now the Sangre Guard are back. I think probably what just needs to happen is the Van Vets and the Death Company need something done to them. The Van Vets can probably be fixed by taking down their Storm Shield costs again, you know that? Especially with Armor of Contempt, because the Storm Shields went up in cost before Armor of Contempt, right? Or was that the same patch? It's hard to remember. Tactical Marines need to be worth it against this Spectre one. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Alright, so Jacob's list, updated for Nephilim. We have a Librarian Dreadnought, first time we've seen him. Quickening, Unleash Rage, Wings. Alright, cool, we got the right powers on this guy. We get the Melt-A-Gun, we get Psychic Mastery. Cool. Primar's Chaplain on a bike, we haven't seen anyone still run him, so it's nice to see him. He is the Master of Sanctity, and he's got the Armor Indomitus, and he's the Warlord. Alright, we have spent some serious CP in this list. We're starting with 3. And then we have the Tech Marine with Master of the Forge. Okay. Assault Intercessors, Intercessors, and Intercessors. Lose these Intercessors, Jacob. Replace them with Incursors. Trust me, they're just much better. Auto Bolt Rifle, like I did a video comparing Auto Bolt Rifle Intercessors to Incursors. Incursors do more damage, they have more ways to survive, they also do better in melee, and we're all about melee. And also they got forward deployment as well, and they got redeployment as well. So trust me, you're gonna get more value out of Incursors than Intercessors. I feel a little bit sad about how, like, I think I have like 40 Intercessors painted. I never run any of them. Okay, we've got Aggressors with the Bolt Storms. We've got Leviathan Dreadnought with the Gravflux and the Drill. Redemptor Dreadnought with the Rocket Pods, the Macroplasma and Onslaught. And I actually like this. I wasn't sure we would see anyone else think this way, but I've half been thinking that a Leviathan plus a Redemptor might be good in the new season or whatnot, because like our other stuff went down in cost, so the costs that they put the Redemptor up 10 points recently or whenever it was, so like the offset of all our other units coming down means that like double Dreadnought lists, and double Dreadnought lists are good. The Redemptor sucks because it's plasmas, D6 shots. If they made that more reliable, Redemptors would be really great, but regardless, Redemptors with Armor of Contempt are quite a bit better. Leviathans with Armor of Contempt are also quite a bit better. I don't think you can run double Leviathan. Thank you so much for subscribing, Zobi. Because it's too many CP. You could probably run double Redemptor if you wanted to. I guess that would be fine. But I think this is a cool choice. I was thinking I could run this without the Tech Marine, but obviously the Tech Marine gives some good value in here as well and keeps these things alive. And I mean, last season, whatever you want to call it, all my tournament lists included double Dreadnoughts, and I was 80% win rate at tournaments last year. I went 4-1 at every tournament I played. So double Dreadnought lists for Blood Angels, it just gives you some support, some heavy support. So I think there could be some play in this. It does make me wonder about the last Fusel Eliminators. Are they just going to be better than Dreadnoughts now? I mean, probably, maybe, but Dreadnoughts are still good, right? So, and Dreadnoughts, obviously, if they ever get into combat, they can do a lot of work as well. We got the Relic Terminators with the Chain Fists, which I like. A Reaper Autocannon, I could take it or leave it. The Grenade Harness, I could take it or leave it. Then we get 2/6 Sangre Guard, swords on one, axes on the other. I would try and redo these where it's like 4 swords, 2 axes in both squads. I think that's the better choice right now. And then we've got the Gladiator Lancer, which is the Gladiator that we like, which is the Strength 12, 72-inch range, D3 plus 3, Ballistic Skill 2, Lancer for 150 points. My question is, maybe we could ask people in chat right now, like, let's do a quick poll in chat. Let's say 150 points is what you've got. What'd you like more? The Gladiator Lancer, or 2 times 3 eliminators with 2 Las Fusils a squad. See what people are saying. Because this came up like the Gladiator Lancer went down in 15 points again. The Las Fusil Eliminators obviously lost their points costs. So yeah, it'll pop up in chat. Just give it a quick vote. See what people are thinking. All right. Is there anything else to take away from this list? I guess some people are going to stick around and hold on to the characters that they know or love. The Primaris Chaplain on a Bike being one of them. He obviously needs basically a Warlord trait. I guess in this case, the Wise Orator, and then he needs a relic. So you're still pending. He is essentially needing 2 CP spent on him. 2 CP spent on a character might work. It might be decent. Obviously, you could spend 3 CP on a character, but it's a lot to spend pre-game, isn't it? The Tet Marine's a good character again. We talked earlier about characters that don't need CP spent on them. I guess the Tet Marine with Master of the Forge doesn't need CP spent on him. He could get value from Quake Bolts. If you really wanted to spend some CP on him. The Psychic Mastery and Librarian makes sense. Just gives him the added reliability. We talked about swapping out those Incursors. That would make it better. I think the Double Dreadnought is viable. I think 2/6 Sangre Guard, that's the minimum you could take. We could definitely get another Sangre Guard in here. I also think you could probably think about maybe making this Relic Terminator squad a little bit cheaper. Maybe like lose a grenade harness, lose the autocannon, and maybe replace these aggressors with the Death Company with the Death Company with think the massive amounts of Thunderhammers. And 27 people in the chat say that Las Fusil Eliminators are just quite a bit more attractive than the Gladiator Lancer. Which is interesting, because they both essentially hit on 2s. I guess the Gladiator Lancer gets 2 shots, strength 12 minus 4. Your Eliminators would get 4 shots, strength 8 minus 3. The Lancer's D3 plus 3, the Eliminators are 3. So, I mean, if you actually mathed that out, it would actually be interesting. Like, give me a target. Like, let's say we're shooting a... It would arguably need to be toughness 8. Yeah, like, we're shooting a Land Raider that's got 2-up save with Armor of Contempt, right? So you've got 4 shots from Las Fusil Eliminators. You wound on 4s. Right? You wound on 4s, so that's 50%. You save on a minus 3, it would be minus 2, so you save on 4s, and then it's times 3 damage. So, into a Land Raider, 4 Las Fusil Eliminators do 2.5 damage a turn. Not that great. The Lancer, you only get 2 shots, but you do wound on 3s because you're strength 12. You're minus 4. So Armor of Contempt, they save on 5s. And then your D3 plus 3, which is an average of 4.5 damage. So yeah, actually into Toughness 8 enemy, the Gladiator Lancer is slightly ahead. Against Toughness 7, your Las Fusil Eliminators are going to be quite a bit ahead, because they'll wound quite a bit more reliably. So, and I guess you could actually put 6. You could have the whole squad of Las Fusils if you wanted. If you didn't want the sergeant to have the rifle. Lancers are still 75 points per D3 plus 3 shot. Admech Glass Chickens still play 42.5 points per D3 plus 3 shot. Lancer just doesn't output enough per shot. So what's your opinion then on Las Fusils then, DTM? Appreciate you putting that math into the chat. Good evening, Joe. How you doing? Okay, so this list is interesting that it's going double Dreadnought, and he's also still spending quite a few CP pre-game. I think he's got this wrong. Why is he starting with 3? Because he's spending 1 on a Leviathan. You're spending 2 on his chaplain, and then he's spending 1 on his dreadnought. So I think he's starting. I think you're starting this list with 2 CP, Jacob, unless I'm missing something. Last Hugel should never be your primary source of anti-armor firepower, in my opinion, on them. Pretty much, you got to remember, as Blood Angels are sort of anti-armor. Our source of anti-armor is melee damage. It's fucking swords and axes, dude. We do chip damage in the shooting phase. I'd argue. The amount of times I have a shooting phase on stream where I kill nothing feels like every couple of weeks. Or did I not have a shooting phase a few weeks back where like I killed a single poxwalker? Like I shot my whole army and killed 1 poxwalker. We don't always do that much shooting, right? What Storm Spear? How many points for the damage? Yeah, Blattle Scribe wasn't updated. Okay, yeah, cool. So, I think we've looked at all these lists, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any of those lists we didn't look at? I think we looked at them all. The most popular is the Thunder Strike. Yes, because the Thunder Strike has the ballistic skill too, right? So that's why people like the Thunder Strike. But again, it's hampered, in my opinion, by the fact that its damage is all D6. I already think spending CP on a damage roll is like a really low value CP spend. Alan, thank you so much for subscribing. You know, you think about like spending CP and stuff. Whoops. Didn't mean to press that one. Think about spending CP and think of all the good CP strats and stuff that you can spend and how we're now limited on CP. I don't think you want to be CPing damage rolls ever, if you can. I mean, sometimes, like, yeah, it can be worth it. It can, of course, be worth it to CP a damage roll if it's the difference between killing something and not killing something. But in general, it's such a low value CP reroll. So, like, having stuff that's like D6 plus 2 or flat 3 is infinitely better, especially in tournament play when every CP is going to be super valuable, right? Self-promotion in the middle of the stream. Yeah, my bad. Click the wrong button. You just finished playing a Thunderstrike today. Cool. 150 points for the Thunderstrike. Is it worth it? For me, I don't know. I don't know if 3 shots, strength 9 and 10 with D6 damage, no core or anything like that, feels worth it to me. What was the other one? The Hammer Strike is the one with the meltas, right? I mean, at least it's got missiles that are flat 3. I mean, that's nice. And Melta on half range, I guess. It's easy to get into half range when you've got 16-inch movement, right? The Melta Destroyer is D6 plus 2. But, I mean, I guess your Ballistic Skill 3 kind of weighs up against that. Badasses don't look at explosions and CP reroll damage, especially on D6s. Yeah, just at a tournament, if you're so limited on CP, I just feel so bad rerolling a damage roll. Just a random thought I had today, but I wish the Dreadnought missiles were heavy 2 crack and 2d6 frag. I feel like that would make them solid fire support options. What are Dreadnought missile arms? Is the crack just 1 shot? I haven't run a Firstborn Dreadnought in forever. I don't even... Oh, it's just heavy 1? Oh, wow, okay. Why is it heavy 1? All the other Cyclones are heavy 2, right? that feels like it just got overlooked. If you look at that missile launcher, it's literally got 6 missiles. It looks like it could fire them all at the same time. Personally, I'm utterly disinterested in tanks and Blood Angels if all they do is damage output. Yeah, I think tanks. I think tanks are going to be an unpopular choice. Well, you can't run 4 Sanguinary Guard because it breaks the rule of 3, but yes. That's a typo there, Heavy 2. I don't have the book in front of me. Is it just a typo on Battlescribe? Let me get the book. Hey, Dirty Wizard, it's been a little while. How are you doing? You've just come back at the start of a new season. Dreadnought. Can be replaced with one. So it's just got a missile launcher. Well, a missile launcher is just heavy 1. Yeah, it's just a standard missile launcher on that Dreadnought, which makes no sense. I mean, I guess it's not a Cyclone missile launcher, but you're right. It feels like it should be heavy too. I was going to actually ask that Ironclad Dreadnought. We didn't see that today. Is anyone interested in an Ironclad Dreadnought? Anyone think that might be good? Oh, right, Dirty Wizard. I saw a post from someone that was at Warhammer World in the Facebook group that was celebrating their birthday. Was that you? Now we can put a face to the name. I assume that was you, unless 2 people randomly in the Facebook group had a birthday on the same weekend. Okay. Oh, congratulations. And how old were you, man? That's a cool place to go for your birthday. Pity the rhino outside is painted blue, though, right? You should have bought a can of Mephiston Red and just sprayed it as you walk past. I guess you would get ejected pretty quickly if you did that, though. Or you can get some sort of filter for can someone Photoshop it so it's Mephiston Red? 38 years old. Oh no way, I'm 38 as well. I'm 39 in like 2 months' time. Highest Royalist Highness has subscribed. Thank you so much. That's the longest name I've ever seen as a subscriber. Toughness 8, Chain Fist, and a pair of Hunter Killers isn't terrible. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I thought, and not many people have done this, I mean, I've never actually seen it run, ever, but if you were going to run Might of Heroes, if you were going to run a Librarian with Null Zone, you could make your Ironclad Toughness 9. I mean, would make it pretty survivable, I guess, right? I mean, if you reserve the Ironclad, you bring it in from the side of the board, you cast Mighty Heroes on it so it gets the extra attacks and toughness 9. It can reroll its 1s if it's got 2 melee weapons. Cheaper than a squad of Terminators. Couple of heavy flamers. Anyone else excited for Plaster Contemptor weapons? I mean, I am excited, but I already bought all the super expensive ones from Forge World, Joe, so there's that. They haven't said how much the Plastic Contemptor kit is. So you guys that bought the... I didn't get round to buying the Horus Heresy box yet. The Horus Heresy box came with a Contemptor inside it, right? Is that just like... Is that like a standard Contemptor? Was that like a melee weapon and a assault cannon and a multi-melta? Like, what options did you get on the Contemptor in the Horus Heresy box? Dead Company Dread with a 5++ might be the one to reserve, though. Yeah, I mean, Death Company getting a... Death Company have had a couple of points drops now. The Death Company Dreadnought has had nothing. I think they could get away from all this spamming of Sanguinary Guard if they gave the Death Company like the 5. If they made their Feel No Pain 1 point better, or if they gave them like one other rule, like Fight on Death or something. Like, it makes no sense that the Death Company don't fight on death. Actually, if you compare that to the Woven, Jake, you're so welcome for the help, and thank you for submitting. Thank you to everybody that submitted lists this week. It was really interesting to just run over them all. If any of you guys want me to actually go through them, and you should check out the Grotz video in the box. I probably should check that out. But thanks for the dig. I appreciate it. If anyone wants me to go through their list more and try and do their standard scoring and stuff like that, I guess I'm going to have to think about the scoring table and see what we can come up with. And I've got to play a game against Chaos Knights on Wednesday. And I think my Terminators, my Eradicators, my Landspear are up for change. And I won't have my new... Well, I might get my new Sangre Guard. I've ordered another box of Sangre Guard. I don't think they'll be here in time to have them made. I generally don't like going on stream with unmade models or unpainted models, but I guess maybe I'll run one squad of Sangre Guard unpainted if they arrive before Wednesday. An Ironclad with a Metal Gun and a Dreadnought Chainfist. I also take Hurricane Bolter for dealing with chaff so I don't get bogged down. Yeah, I mean, there might be some play around an Ironclad. And we've talked about it before, the Ironclad. I'd appreciate a score if there's time. There's definitely time. I guess the reason I didn't score anyone's list tonight is I don't know how I'm scoring yet. I obviously haven't even played the new secondaries yet. I've just read them. So Raziel is very open to suggestions on his list as well. Cool. I actually love the fact, Raziel, that you've gone away from the 10-man Death Company as well. I think you're going to have a lot of success with the 5-man Death Company. I think it works well. Joanne submitted a list yesterday. Where did you submit it, Joanne? Because I guess I missed that one. I tried to pick up everybody's list that had submitted, but we'll get you on the show next week. There were no Blood Angels boxes on the shelves at all, only characters. Wow. Wow. I guess everybody's been buying Sangre Guard. I think I got the cheapest box of Sangre Guard in the UK the day. I shopped around everywhere. I was like, I got to get me a cheap squad of Sangre Guard. The whole metal is up for grabs. It certainly is. An Ironclad with a Chain Fist, Power Fist, and 200 killer missiles is also 150 points. The two fists give it reroll ones. Yeah, the two fists give it reroll ones, and it has like, is it not like 2d3 damage? So it's averaging like 4 damage. Any tips on 1,000-point lists on certain what detachment to take, how many troops, etc. I mean, I'd take the patrol because you get refunded your think your command points if your warlord's in the patrol. Maybe we need. There was a video on the 3 Grots channel about making a 1,000-point Blood Angels list, but maybe we're going to need to make a new. Maybe that's a cool video to make. I'll take a note of that, Night Saber. I'll just put a file on my desktop. Like, new 1,000-point list. Yeah, maybe we can make a quick video on what I think is the new 1,000-point list. I mean, I'd probably take the patrol and try and like. Obviously, you just need one. Is it one troop choice in a patrol? But I'd probably run like 2 incursors, probably 2 squads of Sangre Guard, a couple of characters, maybe like Dante, and you could probably run. You could choose between Mephisto and Astaroth, the Sangre Priest. I don't know if you get as much value out of the Priest in 1,000, but yeah, we'll make a new video in the next couple of weeks on a new 1,000-point list for getting started. We struggle at lower points. Our troops aren't killy. Yeah, our troops aren't killy, but Sangre Guard are pretty deadly in 1,000 points list. So we don't have any S tier HQ anymore, or are all S tier, or no clear choice after today, says Stephen. That's a good question. Dante's probably going to be S tier just because he gives you back a command point, I imagine. And command points are going to be very difficult to achieve. The only other way to get command points would be running like a chapter master with Master of the Codex, which costs you 1 and on average gives you 2.5 back. So a chapter master with Master of the Codex could potentially be as valuable as Dante. However, he needs to survive to give you that command points, right? If he's dead, you potentially lose the command points. I'm gonna be you only get 2 elites in a patrol detachment. I'm gonna call the stream in a minute anyway, guys. But yeah, I mean, over the next few weeks, I guess there'll be a lot to talk about. I'm going to try and film up that masterclass video from the RTT that I was just at. I'm obviously going to build a list for Wednesday night. So we'll be live on Wednesday night this week. And for the foreseeable future, we'll be live on Wednesdays for our battle show. So the same time, 7:30 UK time, but Wednesdays rather than Mondays. So that's going to kick off this week. Chaos Knights. I'm playing Andrew's Chaos Knights. I'm playing his tournament list. And that was actually a pretty deadly list into Blood Angels. So I guess we'll see how we can do against that. I would I would never run 10-man Sanguinary Guard, not in 2,000 points, not in 1,000 points. But yeah, 2 sevens is like, I guess, 420 points or something. Add in 2 troop choices and 2 characters, you're at like 800-900 points. There's not a lot more you need. I was a little disappointed none of the general Space Marine HQs went down in the points compared to other factions. Seems like it's a real premium when Space Marines, says Lunarius. Yeah, it seems like every chapter approved or every whatever you want to call it balance update or points update, they ignore a lot of shit stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's either shit or overcosted, and they just ignore it. I don't know why they just ignore it. I'd honestly thought like maybe I could make a video on just like, because I made a video like I actually got a shitload of views. I made a video on like the 9 worst Space Marine models or units in like last season, and like loads of people watched it because they were like interested to see like what was really shit. And sometimes on YouTube, if you make a thumbnail like that, people will click it because they're like, oh, you know, it's drama and people love drama. But at the same time, like, I kind of want to make it to just be like, come on, Games Workshop, someone at Games Workshop watch this video and be like, oh yeah, tactical Marines, they're complete shit. No one's running them. Bolters are bad. 1 attack in melee combat is bad. No stratagems you can use to help them survive. You know, it's just like, and I guess a tactical Marine costs the same as a Death Company Marine now, who gets like 6 attacks on the charge, you know? So it's like, to be fair, I made a video on how bad the Ball Predator was, and like the Ball Predator did go down in some points, so maybe it helped. I don't know. I don't know if it helped. But even with the Ball Predator changes, they're still kind of crap, right? I don't think we'll see any Ball Predators. Nobody put them into their lists today. Maybe we'll see one. But you're right. There's a lot of stuff that's crap, and it makes no sense to me that it is crap because if it's crap, no one's buying it, right? Like, when you go into Games Workshop shop, you don't go like, well, as a competitive player, if it's not competitive, it's not even on my radar. You know, like I would scan across Primaris stuff, for example, and be like, I don't know, you know, like all the new Primaris HQs, they tried to put a bundle of them together, you know, Outriders, all these sort of things. Like, I think Outriders could have been a cool model if you gave them some weapon options, you know, like they just have chainswords, which are disgusting, or just bad, and like, you just wouldn't buy them. So it makes no sense to me that they're crap, because like, if they made them good, they would sell more of them. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'll make a video at some point about what I think has been ignored this season for whatever reason. Because sometimes I just want to play stuff that I have and I've painted it, and like I feel like I can't play it. Outriders would be cool at 120. They were 120 at the start of ninth, and then they went up twice, and now they're back down once. So maybe they're going to go back down like the Sanguinary Guard went up and down. They're going to yo-yo. But yeah, I don't know if we'll see. I don't know if we'll see anyone running Outriders. I don't like them even at 135. They really don't do that much killing. Okay, I think I'm going to call it there. Obviously, if you want to submit lists for next week, please do. If you submitted a list and you just want me to look at it in more detail, I can try and do that. I'll try and get a handle on the new points in the next couple of weeks. Outriders I would consider at 100, 110. Yeah, I mean, if you compare them to Firstborn Bikers for that cost, you're just better off taking the Firstborn Bikers, right? A video on units that are just slightly out of lists would be cool. Are you sleeping on these 10 unit style video? That's a cool idea. Sleeping on 10 units. I've never done a video like that, Jake. Appreciate it. I'm always looking for new ideas. Try and do something fresh, you know? But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. I'll be live on Wednesday night, so hopefully I'll catch some of you guys then. And then hopefully I'll have filmed the masterclass video for Friday as well. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, Thursday night, 3 grots, probably 9:30. I'll try and remember to give a shout out on Wednesday. But we're going to do like a 2-hour live stream, me, Tony, and Mark on Chapter Approved. I'd love it if some of you guys could come hang out with us there on the 3 Grots channel. Would really appreciate it. And also tell your friends about 3 Grots, because we need to get 3 Grots to 1,000 subscribers. We're trying. Mark's put a link to it in the chat, so please hit it up if you haven't. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will catch you on Wednesday night, guys. By the blood, are we made strong. Peace.